Imagine it's well past midnight. The world is asleep, the streets are silent, and the only thing moving is a young woman walking alone into the darkness. She's 8 months pregnant, just weeks away from bringing a new life into this world. But instead of resting at home, she's stepping out into the cold night with nothing but the clothes on her back. This isn't a scene from a thriller movie. This is the chilling reality of what happened to Camila Mendoza Olmos. A neighbor's security camera captured her final known steps. A grainy video that has left an entire community in San Antonio, Texas, and a desperate family asking the same haunting question: why did she leave, and where is she now? Welcome back to the Crime Chapter, where we peel back the layers of cases that leave families shattered and investigators baffled. If you're as dedicated to finding the truth as we are, please take a quick moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more attention to cases like Camila's, and every sub makes a difference in keeping these stories alive in the public eye. To understand the weight of this disappearance, we have to look at the life Camila was living just before she vanished. At 21 years old, Camila was at a turning point in her life. She was heavily pregnant, expecting a baby girl she planned to name Elena. For any expectant mother, this is a time of preparation, nesting, and excitement. Her family describes her as someone who is deeply connected to her loved ones, someone who wouldn't just walk away from her life, especially not right before giving birth. But on that late night in early January, something changed. The footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera is haunting. It shows Camila walking down the sidewalk, her silhouette clear against the streetlights. She isn't running, she doesn't look like she's being chased. But there is an unsettling calmness to her walk that feels completely out of place for someone wandering the streets at such an hour. She didn't have her phone, she didn't have her wallet, and she didn't have her keys. It was as if she simply stepped out of her existence and into the unknown. The timeline of that night is what keeps investigators up at night. It was around 1:30 a.m. when she was last seen. Most people are in deep sleep at that hour, but for some reason, Camila felt the need to leave the safety of her home. When her family realized she was gone the next morning, the panic was immediate. This wasn't a case of a rebellious teenager staying out late. This was a vulnerable, heavily pregnant woman who needed medical care and stability. The San Antonio Police Department was notified, but as we often see in these cases, the first few hours are a blur of confusion. Her family began scouring the neighborhood, knocking on doors, and pleading with anyone who might have seen something. That's when the security footage surfaced. Seeing her on that tape was both a relief and a new source of terror. It proved she had left on her own feet, but it gave no indication of where she was heading or if someone was waiting for her just out of the camera's frame. As the days turned into a week, the desperation grew. Camila's mother and sisters have been the driving force behind the search, appearing on local news outlets with tears in their eyes, begging for Camila to just come home or for anyone with a shred of information to speak up. They describe her as a kind soul, someone who was looking forward to being a mother. They've held vigils, handed out thousands of flyers, and used social media to keep her face in front of the public. But the silence from the other side has been deafening. In San Antonio, the community has rallied, but the lack of physical evidence is frustrating. There are no tire tracks to follow, no discarded items, and no further sightings after she walked past that one specific house. It's as if the shadows of the night swallowed her whole. At this point in the story, I want to hear from you. What do you think could lead a woman in her third trimester to leave her home in the middle of the night without any essentials? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, as your perspective often helps spark new ideas in these discussions. Also, don't forget to share this video on your social media platforms. The more eyes we have on Camila's face, the better the chance of a breakthrough. When investigators looked closer at her personal life, they had to ask the tough questions. Was there trouble at home? Was she struggling with the immense pressure of an upcoming birth? Or was there someone else involved that the family didn't know about? In many missing persons cases involving pregnant women, the statistical likelihood of foul play involving someone known to the victim is tragically high. However, the police haven't named any official suspects, and the family has remained united in their focus on finding her. The husband's perspective and his movements that night have been scrutinized by the public, as is common in these high-profile cases. Every detail, from the tone of his voice in interviews to the way he describes their last conversation, is being analyzed by armchair detectives across the country. But without concrete evidence, it's all just speculation. The reality is that a young woman and her unborn child are missing, and every second that passes makes the situation more dire. The search efforts have expanded into the wooded areas and fields surrounding the neighborhood. Search and rescue teams, along with canine units, have spent hours trekking through difficult terrain, hoping to find any clue that might lead them to Camila. The weather in Texas during January can be unpredictable, and the thought of her being outside, exposed to the elements in her condition, is heartbreaking. Her family keeps her room exactly as she left it, with the baby clothes washed and folded, and the crib waiting for a child that should have been home by now. This level of grief is unimaginable. They aren't just missing a daughter, they are missing a future. The story of Camila Mendoza Olmos has resonated so deeply because it touches on our most basic fears, the fear of the unknown and the fear of losing someone, when they are at their most vulnerable. As we move further into the investigation, the role of technology becomes even more critical. Police have been trying to track any digital footprint she might have left behind, even though she didn't have her phone with her. They've looked at social media accounts, bank records, and even public transportation logs. Was she meeting someone? Did she call a rideshare service from a different device? The mystery of those last steps on camera remains the centerpiece of the case. In the footage, she seems to be walking with a purpose, not wandering aimlessly. This suggests she had a destination in mind. But in that neighborhood, at that hour, there aren't many places a person can go on foot. The gaps in the story are where the most frightening possibilities live. As the investigation continues, the pressure on the San Antonio Police Department to provide answers is mounting, and the national media has started to take notice of this pregnant mother who simply vanished into thin air. The passing of time is the greatest enemy in any missing persons case. But when a pregnancy is involved, the clock doesn't just tick at pounds. As days turned into weeks without a sign of Camila, the community in San Antonio began to feel a heavy sense of unease. People started looking at their own surroundings differently, checking their dashcams and looking into vacant lots, wondering if they had passed by the answer to this mystery without even realizing it. The investigation by the San Antonio Police Department continued, but the lack of a crime scene made everything significantly harder. Without blood, signs of a struggle, or a vehicle to track, detectives were left working with a puzzle that had most of its pieces missing. They began to re-examine the footage of Camila walking away from her home, looking for the smallest details. Was she carrying something small in her hand? Was there a car that passed by a few minutes later that seemed out of place? These are the questions that keep the team here at the Crime Chapter dedicated to revisiting these stories. Because often, it's a small, overlooked detail that eventually breaks a case wide open. While the police worked the technical side, the emotional weight continued to crush Camila's family. Her mother's pleas on social media became more desperate with every sunset. She spoke directly to Camila in her videos, telling her that no matter what happened or why she left, she just wanted her and the baby to be safe. This brings up one of the most discussed theories in this case, the possibility of a mental health crisis. Pregnancy brings about massive hormonal shifts, and for some, it can lead to intense anxiety or even a break from reality. Could Camila have been experiencing something she didn't feel she could share? If she was in a state of confusion, she might have wandered much further than anyone anticipated. However, her family remained skeptical of this theory, insisting that her excitement for the baby was her primary focus. They believed she was looking forward to the future, not running from it, which points the finger of suspicion back toward the idea of external involvement. In many cases like this, the first person of interest is often the partner. Camila's husband has been interviewed by police, and while no charges have been filed and he hasn't been officially named a suspect, the public's eye remains fixed on him. In his public statements, he has expressed his own confusion and heartbreak, describing a normal evening that ended in an inexplicable disappearance. But the internet is a place of endless scrutiny. People point to the fact that she left without her phone as a sign that she either left in a huge hurry or was coerced into leaving. If she was meeting someone she trusted, she might have left her phone behind to avoid being tracked, or perhaps she thought she would only be gone for a few minutes. The reality is that without digital data, the police are essentially flying blind, relying on old-school detective work and the hope that someone, somewhere, will have a change of heart and come forward with the truth. As we look at the logistics of her disappearance, we have to consider the neighborhood itself. It's a residential area where people generally know their neighbors, which makes it even more shocking that no one saw where she went after she walked off camera. This suggests that she either got into a vehicle very shortly after that footage was recorded, or she knew exactly where she was going to hide. But where does an 8-month pregnant woman hide? She would need food, water, and eventually medical attention for the birth. Hospitals and clinics across Texas and even into Mexico were alerted to be on the lookout for a woman matching Camila's description showing up to give birth. To this day, those alerts haven't produced the breakthrough the family is praying for. It's a haunting thought, the idea that a new life has been brought into this world under such dark and uncertain circumstances. We want to take a second here to remind everyone how important your engagement is. If you find this coverage helpful, please consider sharing this video on your Facebook, X, or Reddit. Cases like Camila's stay cold when people stop talking about them, and by sharing this, you are ensuring that her face stays in the public eye. Also, we'd love to see your theories in the comments. Do you think the doorbell footage holds the key, or do you think the answer lies in her personal life before that night? Every comment helps boost this video so more people can see it, and you never know who might be watching. A single tip from a viewer could be the thing that brings Camila Mendoza Olmos home to her family. The search for Camila has also highlighted the broader issue of missing women of color in the United States, who often don't receive the same level of national media attention as other cases. Her family has had to fight hard to keep her story in the news cycle, navigating the complex world of media and law enforcement. They've organized Search for Camila Days, where volunteers from all over San Antonio come together to walk through parks and drainage tunnels. These volunteers aren't just looking for Camila. They are looking for Elena, the baby girl who was supposed to be the center of this family's joy. The strength shown by these searchers is a testament to the community's spirit. but it also highlights the grim reality that they are searching for any sign, even if it's a sign they hope they never find. As we reach the current status of the case, the trail has unfortunately gone quiet. The San Antonio Police Department maintains that the case is active, and they continue to follow up on every lead that comes in through their tip lines. But for the family, active isn't enough. They live in a state of perpetual limbo, caught between hope and mourning. Every time a phone rings or there's a knock at the door, their hearts skip a beat, hoping it's the news they've been waiting for. They have kept Camila's social media pages active, posting birthday messages and updates, treating her as if she is still just a phone call away. It's a form of survival for them, a way to keep the darkness of the unknown at bay. To wrap up today's story, we have to look at the legacy of this case so far. It serves as a stark reminder of how quickly a life can change. One minute you are preparing for a baby, and the next, you are a headline in a missing persons report. The mystery of the mother who left home after midnight continues to baffle experts and common citizens alike. At the Crime Chapter, we will continue to monitor this case and provide updates as soon as any new information is released by the authorities or the family. The hope is that by keeping the story alive, we can help provide the pressure needed to keep the investigation moving forward. Thank you for staying with us through this deep dive into the disappearance of Camila Mendoza Olmos. It's a difficult story to tell, but it's one that deserves to be heard. Remember, if you have any information regarding Camila's whereabouts, please contact the San Antonio Police Department or your local authorities immediately. No detail is too small, and your anonymity is often protected. Before you go, make sure you've liked this video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future deep dives into the cases that matter most. We appreciate your support and your dedication to seeking justice for the missing. Until next time, stay safe and stay vigilant.